Hi guys, Bill here again. Um, Today I want to talk to you guys about nitrogen cycle. Earlier I covered what the carbon cycle was. I decided to make another ecological cycle video on nitrogen because it is very important. First of all, let's start this video by asking yourselves, what is nitrogen cycle? Simple enough. Nitrogen cycle or nitrogen is exchange or cycle among Earth's ocean, atmosphere, ecosystem, and geosphere. And just like a carbon cycle, I want you guys to think about why is it important and why do we study it. So if you guys have to pause the video, go ahead do so, and I'll see you guys in a couple seconds. Nitrogen cycle is important because it represents one of the most important nutrition cycles found in terrestrial ecosystems. So what it means is that nitrogen is used by living organisms to produce a number of a complex organic molecule like amino acids, proteins, and nucleic acid. So it directly correlates to what we're composed of. So nitrogen is really important. Um, it takes us about 78% of the atmosphere, so it's a huge amount of it takes up a lot of space of what atmosphere is filled with. Those One of the most important example could be nitrogen fixation, and this is actually one of my research studies on. My project is on Medicago, and where I study the nitrogen fixation of nodule, the bacteria called Rhizobia, and these just like bacteria like Rhizobia and Medicago, these bacteria basically convert nitrogen gas to ammonia, um, which allows the plants to grow and sustain its life. And we know that, and you guys know this, plants are super important for our human lives and just organisms itself. And organisms in our Earth cannot survive without plant life. So like I said, remember, without plants, no organisms can survive. So therefore, studying nitrogen fixation and understanding nitrogen cycle is essential for our organism's life and very important. Also, like I said, this directly correlates to study of agriculture also, because understanding the not just concepts like nitrogen fixation can help sustain our plant lives better. So it is super important for agriculture life. So let's look at this diagram. This is typical nitrogen cycle diagram. So we can look at it just like I said, how I mentioned in carbon cycle video. This is basically, if you were to ignore this fossil fuel emissions, this is the natural cause of nitrogen cycle. And before the agricultural life was huge in Earth, this would not been here. So it's the fossil fuel emission is not very big effect on nitrogen cycle itself, but it still does, because when the precipitation occurs, the 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 whole cycle gets added up into with our fossil fuel emissions. So the whole cycle gets added on what the when we burn fossil fuel, and the emissions are released in the atmosphere. So every little bitty of cycle have every effect on each other, because everything is a cycle, right? So I think the most important part about this diagram will be talking about nitrogen fixation and how so where it is, so right here, the bacteria fixation. So I think this is one of the most important thing, because like I said, when there's no plant, then we can't survive. So everything is pretty simple forward. Plant consumption and the organic matter dies, and then mineralization happens. And when the gaseous atmosphere nitrogen stores, so when the gaseous nitrogen floats around the air, the bacteria uses that nitrogen um, to help out those plants to grow. So it's very significant to understand nitrogen cycle in our lives, because it helps us sustain lives in general, and very important for nutrition, because we we talked about biotic factors and abiotic factors, and how primary consumers, they eat plants, and That's very important because if there's no plant, no energy for primary consumers, and like us, we eat cows and chicken, and they eat, and those chickens and cows eat plants. So if the plants are not there to, nitrogen fixation is not there to help these plants to grow, then those no plants won't be able to survive, and we won't survive. So therefore, understanding concept of nitrogen cycle is very significant. So hopefully this video helped you guys understand more about nitrogen cycle. And if you guys have any questions on it, please email me, and I will see you guys next time.